Humans were considered primitive until a galactic war reached Sol system. For a long time, humans were considered one of the weaker species in the galaxy. Other civilizations looked at Earth and thought it was small, slow, and unimportant. They studied humans from far away and saw no great technology, no powerful weapons, and no ships capable of leaving the solar system easily. To them, humans were primitive. They had small settlements on a single planet, their cities were crowded, and their machines were simple. They had not yet joined the Interstellar Council, and many aliens assumed they never would. Alex Morgan walked along the quiet streets of New York City, unaware of how the galaxy saw his kind. He was not a soldier or a scientist, just a systems analyst who worked with satellites and communication systems. His job was routine, monitoring signals that often led nowhere. Still, he liked the work. It gave him a small feeling of control in a world that sometimes felt chaotic. He had no idea that soon, his life and the life of every human would change forever. Across the galaxy, powerful alien species were preparing for war. Their fleets stretched across hundreds of star systems. Each species had advanced ships, weapons that could destroy entire planets, and generals who had fought thousands of battles. They believed they knew the future of the galaxy. They believed that Earth was not worth their attention. Earth would remain small, weak, and unimportant as it always had. On Earth, life went on as usual. Children played in parks, adults went to work, and people lived without worrying about distant wars in deep space. Emma Wright was a teacher in Chicago. She spent her days teaching children about science and history. She loved sharing knowledge and watching curiosity grow in young minds. To Emma, space was fascinating, but it felt distant, almost like a story. Humans had made small steps toward exploring space, satellites, space stations, probes to other planets, but no one imagined they could compete with the giants of the galaxy. Alex often thought about what humans could do if they worked together. He knew his people were clever, inventive, and able to solve problems quickly. Yet humans were also divided. Countries argued over resources, leaders fought for power, and too often people could not agree on simple things. Aliens saw these weaknesses and assumed that humans were simple, unprepared, and easy to ignore. One evening, Alex was at home, looking at the sky. Stars shone like tiny diamonds against the blackness of space. He wondered what life might be like on other planets. Could there be civilizations far beyond the reach of humans? Could other beings look at Earth as humans looked at a small moon? He smiled, thinking about the possibility. He had no way of knowing that some of those civilizations were watching him, thinking about how easy it would be to destroy his world. In another part of the city, Lily Brooks walked along a quiet street on her way home from work. She was a flight engineer at the National Space Agency. She spent her days repairing engines, checking systems, and making sure spacecraft were ready for launch. It was demanding work, but she loved it. She often dreamed of flying among the stars herself, piloting a ship to places humans had never reached. She had heard stories of alien species, of their advanced technology and vast fleets, and it always made her heart race. Humans were behind, she knew, but she also knew that their ingenuity could surprise people. Even in their ordinary lives, humans showed sparks of greatness. A team of engineers in Houston had built a new type of engine that used less fuel and traveled faster than any before. Farmers in Kansas had developed machines that could grow crops efficiently in harsh climates. Doctors in Seattle were experimenting with treatments that could save lives in ways never tried before. No alien could know all these small acts of brilliance. To them, humans were still primitive because they measured strength only by ships, weapons, and raw power. On the other side of the galaxy, alien generals prepared their fleets for war. Commander Verk of the Zelorian Empire studied star charts, marking which systems were safe and which were vulnerable. His fleet was enormous, faster than anything humans had ever built. He had no concern for Earth. Why waste time on a planet with weak defenses and no strategic value? His officers agreed, nodding at his orders. They were confident that humans could not survive a single attack. At the same time, the Gyran Collective, a species known for their intelligence and patience, was planning their strategy. Admiral Solon studied the same star charts, noting Earth's location. They had been observing humans for decades. They had seen the satellites, the probes, the small human attempts at space travel. They wrote reports calling humans slow, unskilled, and weak. It was easy to dismiss them, just as Verk had done. No one could imagine that humans were capable of real innovation under pressure. Back on Earth, Alex and Lily did not know the danger that was coming. They went about their lives, dealing with daily problems, software errors, supply shortages, and long commutes. They noticed little changes in the news, small reports of strange signals detected by satellites, but they ignored them. Signals came and went, strange blips in the vastness of space. People saw them as anomalies, nothing more. Yet these small signals were the first sign that humans were no longer alone, and that soon, the galaxy's view of them would change forever. One night, Alex was monitoring a communications satellite when he noticed something unusual. A series of signals repeated in a pattern that did not match any known human activity. He called Lily at the space agency. Together, they tried to decode the signals. Hours passed, and slowly, a pattern began to emerge. The signals were too structured, too precise to be natural. Someone or something was sending them. "This is strange," Lily said, frowning at the screen. "I've never seen anything like this." Alex nodded. "Neither have I. It's almost like they know where to look." Neither of them knew it, but the signals came from an alien fleet passing through the outer reaches of the solar system. They were damaged, fleeing from another alien species that was hunting them. Earth had no role in the conflict, but now it was in the wrong place at the wrong time. The next morning, the news reported unusual activity in the skies. People noticed strange lights, objects moving faster than any human ship. Drones captured images of unidentified craft near the edge of the solar system. Panic began to spread. Governments scrambled to understand the situation, but their technology could not match what was coming. Military leaders called for calm, urging citizens to stay inside. Meanwhile, Alex and Lily worked tirelessly trying to monitor the incoming fleet. "What are they?" Lily asked, her voice tense. "I don't know," Alex admitted, "but I think we need to be ready for anything." In secret, human scientists and engineers began preparing. They repaired old satellites, tested experimental engines, and gathered teams of pilots and technicians. It was not enough, they knew, but humans had something other species did not fully understand: the ability to adapt quickly, to invent solutions in moments of crisis, and to work together when survival depended on it. Even ordinary people contributed. Civilians shared knowledge, built communication networks, and monitored the skies. Families, schools, and communities became part of a vast, unplanned effort. Humans, though underestimated, were beginning to show a different kind of strength. They had no massive fleets, no planet-destroying weapons, but they had resilience, creativity, and courage. As the first alien ships entered the outer solar system, Alex, Lily, and others watched in awe and fear. The ships were enormous, their weapons more advanced than anything humans had ever imagined. They could have destroyed Earth in moments. Yet something in the humans stirred. Instead of surrendering, instead of fleeing, they began to prepare. Every satellite, station, and spacecraft became a part of a defensive network. Every human mind focused on a single goal: survival. In that moment, the galaxy's assumption that humans were weak began to crumble. No one on Earth fully understood what was happening, but the seeds of something extraordinary were taking root. Humanity was about to face a challenge that no one expected, and in that challenge they would show their true power, not through raw technology, but through unity, courage, and the simple, stubborn refusal to give up. Alex looked at the night sky again, feeling a strange mixture of fear and hope. "We are not ready for this," he said softly. "No," Lily agreed. "But maybe we don't have to be ready the way they think we should be." And for the first time, humans began to realize that being underestimated might be their greatest advantage. The alien fleet moved closer to the solar system. From the edge of the Kuiper Belt, their massive ships appeared as bright points of light, growing bigger with each passing hour. To the aliens, Earth was just a small, unimportant planet, a place they could pass without concern. But something unexpected happened. One of the fleeing fleets, damaged and confused, accidentally entered the outer solar system. Their sensors detected planets, satellites, and small defenses, and they made no attempt to hide. They were too focused on escape. Alex Morgan stared at the screens in the operations center. The signals were growing stronger, more complex, and impossible to ignore. He turned to Lily Brooks, who was checking the status of spacecraft in orbit. "They're coming closer," he said, his voice tense. "I don't think this is a drill," Lily's eyes widened. They're huge and they're moving fast. I've never seen anything like this. Alex, this is real. Humans on Earth noticed strange lights in the sky. People stared up at the night, pointing at shapes that moved faster than any known object. Military satellites picked up the alien ships and confirmed what the civilians were already seeing. Earth was no longer alone. Panic spread quickly. Governments held emergency meetings, debating what to do. Some wanted to hide, some wanted to strike first, but no one had the power to act decisively. Ben Carter, a senior officer at the Space Command, studied the alien fleet carefully. He was a calm man in his 40s, used to handling emergencies, but even he could not hide the tension in his voice. "We don't know their intentions," he said. "They may not even be aware of us, but we cannot assume they will ignore Earth. Prepare every defense we have. Alert all personnel." Meanwhile, civilians began organizing. Alex and Lily coordinated with teams of engineers, programmers, and amateur astronomers. They worked through the night, analyzing data, testing communication systems, and preparing satellites for defensive maneuvers. Every human contribution mattered. Even simple calculations, quick adjustments, and improvised devices became tools in the growing effort. In the outer orbit, the alien ships adjusted their paths. Some were damaged, their engines failing, their hulls cracked. Others were chasing them, moving aggressively, weapons ready. From a human perspective, the ships were frightening, immense, and powerful. But the humans began to notice something the aliens did not expect. The alien ships were not perfectly coordinated. Each species had its own style, its own rules of engagement. Where humans saw confusion, they saw opportunity. Alex and Lily decided to try something risky. They sent small signals to the approaching ships, hoping to confuse their sensors. It was a simple idea. If humans could make themselves appear stronger or more organized than they really were, they might buy time. Hours passed as they adjusted frequencies, recalibrated transmitters, and sent out repeated pulses. Each signal carried a hint of human ingenuity, a small reminder that Earth was not completely defenseless. In orbit around Mars, Emma Wright and a small group of scientists monitored alien activity. They worked with computers to track ship movements, plotting courses, and predicting behavior. The data was overwhelming, but they approached it systematically. Every calculation mattered. Every prediction could save lives. Emma thought about her students, imagining what they would say if they could see this now. Humanity, often underestimated, was beginning to fight back, not with weapons, but with brains and determination. The first contact happened unexpectedly. A small alien scout ship entered the inner solar system. It moved erratically, damaged and confused. Humans had no weapons capable of destroying it, but they could observe and respond. Alex, Lily, and their team sent signals designed to communicate confusion. The ship slowed, sensors flickering, unable to process the strange patterns. For a moment, the alien crew seemed uncertain. Humans had no intention of attacking, but they showed that they were not entirely defenseless. This small act marked the beginning of humanity's active role in the conflict. Civilians and military personnel worked together. Engineers repurposed old satellites, fitting them with sensors, mirrors, and small thrusters. Communication networks were patched together, linking space stations, research facilities, and even private observatories. Humanity had no massive fleet, no huge weapons, but they had coordination and creativity. News of the alien ships reached cities worldwide. People were frightened, but many also felt a strange sense of pride. Volunteers offered support, scientists worked longer hours, and civilians shared observations and ideas. In New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, and small towns alike, people watched the sky and wondered if humans could survive this. They had been told for centuries that they were weak, primitive, and irrelevant. Now they had a chance to prove otherwise. On the damaged alien fleet, Commander Verk struggled to maintain control. His ships were failing, his crews were exhausted, and his calculations were proving unreliable. He had never faced a species like humans before. They did not act predictably. They did not surrender. They improvised, adapted, and reacted in ways he could not anticipate. Each move he made was met with unexpected resistance, not through weapons, but through coordination, speed, and clever use of their environment. Back on Earth, Lily and Alex coordinated with civilian pilots to move small spacecraft into strategic positions. Old cargo ships, research probes, and even experimental engines were refitted to create traps and diversions. Humans did not aim to destroy alien ships. Instead, they sought to confuse, delay, and redirect them. It was dangerous work. One miscalculation could cost lives, but humans were willing to try. They had no choice. Emma Wright worked on communications. She helped translate strange signals and sent replies that made alien ships hesitate. Humans had no formal knowledge of alien languages or culture, but they used logic, timing, and unpredictability to create the illusion of understanding. It worked. The alien crews paused, unable to interpret the signals, unsure of whether humans were friend or threat. Meanwhile, Alex made a bold decision. He proposed that humans use the gravity of planets to create natural obstacles. By calculating precise orbits and timing satellite movements, humans could force alien ships to slow down or take longer routes. It was risky and required split-second calculations, but it leveraged what humans had: ingenuity and the ability to adapt quickly. As the hours passed, humans began to see small victories. Alien ships were slowed, their movements confused. The larger fleet, expecting easy passage through the solar system, was delayed. The galaxy's assumption that humans were weak began to crumble. Humans were not winning through strength alone, but through creativity, improvisation, and coordination. Ben Carter and Lily Brooks watched the growing chaos from the Space Command Center. "I can't believe this is working," Ben said, shaking his head. "They're adapting. They're learning faster than we imagined," Lily nodded. "That's humans. We can be unpredictable. That's our advantage. We're not strong like them, but we are clever. And when we work together, we can surprise anyone." The first serious confrontation occurred near Mars. A damaged alien ship attempted to fire on a human station, but the humans anticipated the attack. They moved satellites and probes into its path, forcing it to dodge. The alien ship fired, but the shots missed. Humans were not hitting them, but they were changing the battlefield. Every move made by humans disrupted the alien plans. Alex and Lily coordinated civilians to track alien ships. People in observatories, radio towers, and even homes became part of the network. Every observation, every calculation, every suggestion mattered. Humans began to understand their own strength. They were small, limited, and underestimated, but they were united. They could act faster than larger fleets burdened by hierarchy and protocol. Emma Wright realized that humans had a new kind of power. It was not about weapons, speed, or size. It was about thinking, adapting, and refusing to give up. Humans could survive when others assumed they could not, and survival, she understood, was only the beginning. As night fell over Earth, the alien fleet remained near the solar system. They were confused, delayed, and wary. What they had expected to be an easy passage became a complicated, unpredictable problem. They were facing humans for the first time in a serious way, and the results were unlike anything they had imagined. Alex looked at the sky, exhausted but determined. "They think we're weak," he said quietly, "but they don't understand us. They never did." Lily smiled, tired but resolute. "Then let's show them. We may be small, but we can be unstoppable when we work together." For the first time, humans began to believe in their own power. The galaxy had underestimated them, dismissed them, and ignored them. But the war had reached Earth, and humanity had shown that even the so-called primitive species could make the difference between life and destruction. And as the alien fleet hesitated, unsure of what to do next, humans prepared for what was coming. They were not ready in the way anyone expected, but they were ready in the only way that mattered: united, inventive, and unyielding. The solar system was no longer quiet. The alien fleets moved cautiously, scanning for threats, their ships glowing like distant stars. Humans were everywhere, on satellites, in space stations, and even in small ships repurposed for defense. Every day brought new challenges. Each alien move tested human skills, ingenuity, and courage. Alex Morgan had not slept well for days. He sat in the operations center, monitors glowing, showing paths of alien ships, signals from satellites, and messages from volunteers across the planet. Every human contribution mattered. Even small actions could slow an alien ship, force it to change course, or buy critical time. He rubbed his eyes and leaned back, realizing that humans were learning faster than anyone expected. They were beginning to act not as scattered individuals, but as a single, adaptive force. Lily Brooks worked beside him, adjusting communication systems. Her hands moved quickly, calibrating signals, rerouting data, and making sure that every satellite, probe, and spacecraft communicated correctly. "We're getting better at this," she said. "They can't predict what we'll do next. Every step we take confuses them more." Alex nodded. "It's not just about confusing them, it's about forcing them to make mistakes. They are used to organized fleets with strict rules. We don't follow their rules." In orbit around Earth, small human spacecraft moved like shadows. Pilots repurposed cargo ships, old research vessels, and experimental craft into mobile observation posts and quick-response units. None of these ships could compete with alien engines or weapons, but humans did not fight like aliens. They used clever tactics, hiding behind planets, using gravitational forces to swing ships into advantageous positions, and predicting alien movements in ways no alien could understand. Emma Wright monitored communications from her station on Mars. Alien signals were strong, precise, and intimidating. Most humans would have panicked, but Emma was calm. She had trained her team to think quickly and work together. "If we can anticipate their next move, we can direct them into positions that give us a small advantage," she said. Her assistant, Daniel Hughes, nodded. "Even small advantages matter," he added. "Sometimes one satellite in the wrong place can change everything." The first major test came when an alien scout tried to attack a human research station near Jupiter. The ship fired energy pulses, fast and deadly. Humans had no weapons to match, but they had traps. Alex and Lily had coordinated with engineers to adjust satellites and debris in the station's orbit. The alien pulses struck objects in space, missing the station entirely. The ship had to maneuver quickly, losing time and exposing itself to observation. On Earth, civilians cheered quietly as reports came in. They were not celebrating destruction, but survival. Humans had taken a tiny step and survived. Every person who contributed, from scientists to amateur astronomers, felt part of something bigger. Humanity was no longer passive. They had begun to shape events, even when the odds seemed impossible. The alien fleet's leaders were confused. Commander Verk and Admiral Solon had never encountered such a species. Humans did not follow predictable patterns. They did not surrender when cornered. They improvised, adapted, and coordinated without formal chains of command. Every attempt to attack humans was met with a new, unexpected tactic. Verk could not believe it. "They are supposed to be primitive," he muttered. "How can they act like this?" Lily and Alex worked on a risky plan. They wanted to use the asteroid belt to their advantage. By moving selected asteroids, adjusting satellites, and timing trajectories, they could create a complex obstacle field. Alien ships built for speed and precision would be forced to slow down, avoid collisions, and waste valuable time. It was dangerous. One miscalculation could destroy human equipment and lives, but humans had no choice. Their survival depended on cleverness, not firepower. Volunteers on Earth contributed in unexpected ways. Farmers in Nebraska tracked signals from satellites, noting changes in movement. Engineers in Japan adjusted old probes to serve as observation points. Students in Brazil monitored communications and helped calculate trajectories. Every human action, no matter how small, contributed to the growing network. Humanity was not a single fleet or army, but a living, thinking system that adapted faster than any alien commander could predict. The asteroid plan was put into action. Old satellites moved carefully, nudged by human-controlled thrusters. Small craft pushed asteroids into precise positions. The alien fleet approached, unaware of the trap. When they entered the asteroid belt, their sensors detected unexpected obstacles. Ships were forced to slow, navigate carefully, and adjust trajectories constantly. The aliens had expected humans to panic, but humans had turned the natural environment into a tool. Commander Verk was furious. His orders had failed repeatedly. His ships, built for speed and efficiency, were slowed by rocks and debris. They were forced into patterns he had not predicted. Every movement humans made was a surprise. "This species is dangerous," he admitted to his officers. "Not because of weapons, but because they think differently. They adapt too fast." Meanwhile, humans continued to innovate. Alex and Lily monitored the alien fleet's patterns, noting weaknesses. Old satellites were moved to create shadows and confusion. Observers predicted the paths of alien ships, feeding information to pilots. Even when a ship tried to fire, human networks could anticipate and redirect energy pulses harmlessly. Humans were not attacking. They were surviving, and in doing so, proving that intelligence and coordination could match raw strength. Emma Wright realized that humans were learning faster than aliens expected. Each human decision was independent, but each was connected. They shared observations, predictions, and solutions. In this, they were unlike any alien fleet, which relied on strict commands and hierarchy. Humans could respond to events instantly without waiting for approval. This speed of thought, combined with creativity, made them unpredictable and dangerous. The alien fleets began to adapt too, but slowly. They had never faced a species that moved like a single organism without formal orders. Their sensors, trained to detect predictable patterns, struggled to make sense of human movements. Commander Solon tried to impose more rules, but the humans ignored them. Their improvisation, flexibility, and courage disrupted the aliens' strategies repeatedly. Back on Earth, Alex felt a strange pride. Humans were showing the galaxy that they could survive against forces far stronger than themselves. Every small success, every clever maneuver, every signal rerouted, and every satellite adjusted was proof that humans were not primitive. They were underestimated, but they were learning, adapting, and surviving. The first serious test of human ingenuity came near Saturn. An alien ship attempted to pass close to the planet to gain speed. Humans had anticipated this and moved satellites to create a mirror effect, reflecting energy pulses back toward the alien sensors. The ship was forced to slow down and adjust its course, losing valuable time. Pilots reported success, and cheers erupted from the human observation network. Even damaged ships contributed. Old research craft, barely functional, were repurposed as bait or observation platforms. They drew alien attention, allowing better-equipped humans to position satellites and small ships strategically. Humans turned weakness into strength, showing that ingenuity could balance lack of raw power. Across the solar system, humanity's efforts were coordinated like never before. Engineers, scientists, pilots, and volunteers worked together as a single, adaptive organism. No alien commander could understand the speed at which humans reacted. Every movement, every calculation, every observation was shared, amplified, and used immediately. Humans were not the fastest or strongest, but they were clever and united. Verk and Solon began to realize that the human's strength was not in weapons or speed, but in unpredictability. Humans did not follow the rules of engagement, hierarchy, or strategy that had been used for centuries. They improvised constantly, adapted instantly, and learned from every mistake. Each human action was small, but together they created a force the aliens could not comprehend. Back on Earth, Emma Wright smiled at her monitors. "They think we are weak," she said. "But every time they underestimate us, we survive. Every time we adapt, we grow stronger." Daniel Hughes nodded. "We don't need to beat them in strength. We only need to survive long enough to prove we are clever." Alex and Lily watched the alien fleet struggle. It was exhausting work, but humans were showing a new kind of power. They were small, limited, and underestimated. Yet every challenge revealed human resilience, creativity, and unity. They were not soldiers of a massive army, but a species that could think, adapt, and survive against impossible odds. As days passed, the alien fleet began to retreat, delayed and frustrated by human ingenuity. Humans had no desire to destroy them, but their clever tactics forced aliens to slow down, reconsider, and adjust. Every small human success was a victory. Not a victory of firepower, but of mind, coordination, and determination. Alex leaned back, exhausted but satisfied. "They thought we were primitive," he said softly, "but we're showing them something else. They can't predict us, they can't control us, and they never expected what humans can do when we work together." Lily smiled. "This is only the beginning. We may be small, but we are strong in ways they don't understand, and that is our greatest weapon." Humanity had survived the first major test. The alien fleets had entered the solar system expecting easy victories. Instead, they found humans clever, adaptable, and united. The galaxy had been wrong. Humans were not primitive. They were unpredictable, resilient, and capable of surviving against overwhelming odds. And for the first time, humans began to realize that survival was not just about reacting. It was about creating opportunities, thinking faster than anyone else, and working together as one. The galaxy had underestimated them. And humanity was ready to prove that being underestimated could be its greatest strength. The solar system had become a strange battlefield. Alien ships hovered near planets, scanning for weaknesses, while humans moved quietly through satellites, small spacecraft, and improvised observation posts. Every day brought new challenges. Every day, humans found new ways to survive. And slowly, the aliens began to understand that Earth was not what they had thought. Alex Morgan stood in the operations center, eyes fixed on screens filled with alien movements, satellite positions, and incoming messages from volunteers all over the world. "They are learning," he said, speaking to Lily Brooks. "Not just about us, but about how unpredictable we are." Lily nodded, adjusting the position of a communications satellite in orbit. "They can't understand us because we don't follow their rules. They expect us to panic, to scatter, to surrender, but we don't." The aliens had tried to organize attacks, but every move had been met with human adaptation. Old satellites had been moved to create obstacles, small craft had acted as decoys, and improvised signals had confused their sensors. Humans were not strong in firepower, but they were clever. They had learned to use every tool available, the planets, asteroids, satellites, and even the environment itself, to their advantage. On Mars, Emma Wright and her team monitored alien communications. They could not fully understand the messages, but they noticed patterns. The aliens hesitated more often, adjusted their paths more carefully, and sometimes retreated entirely. "They are afraid of making mistakes," Emma explained to her assistant, Daniel Hughes. "And every mistake they make, we can use to survive." Daniel looked at the screen, tracking an alien ship as it changed course to avoid a carefully placed asteroid. "It's amazing how something so small can make them pause," he said. "One wrong move and they could hit an asteroid or lose speed. We are teaching them caution." Humans were beginning to influence the aliens in ways they had never imagined. Small adjustments, carefully calculated and coordinated, had slowed the fleet. Damaged ships had become liabilities, forced to rely on slower, more cautious movement. Alien commanders had begun to argue among themselves, unsure of how to respond. Each time they hesitated, humans gained more time to prepare, more time to learn, and more time to adapt. Alex and Lily planned a bold operation. They wanted to use the outer planets to create a natural shield. By moving satellites and debris near Uranus and Neptune, they could force alien ships to take longer, more dangerous paths. It was risky. One miscalculation could destroy human equipment. But the humans were willing to take the risk. They had no choice. Survival depended on cleverness, not strength. Meanwhile, volunteers on Earth contributed in every way they could. Farmers in Iowa tracked satellite positions and helped calculate trajectories. Engineers in Germany repurposed old research probes to act as observation points. Students in India monitored communications and noted strange patterns. Every action, no matter how small, strengthened the human network. The operation began. Satellites and probes moved into precise positions, and small spacecraft guided them carefully. Alien ships entered the outer system, unaware of the trap. When they reached Uranus, they were forced to slow down, adjust their course, and navigate around obstacles they could not predict. Their sensors detected interference, but they could not determine the source. Human ingenuity had created confusion, and the aliens were powerless to stop it. Commander Verk's frustration grew. His fleet, built for speed and efficiency, was slowed by rocks, debris, and satellites. His crews were exhausted, their morale dropping. "These humans," he muttered, "they are not strong, but they are clever, too clever." Admiral Solon watched the fleet as it struggled through the outer planets. "We underestimated them," he admitted. "We cannot predict their actions. Every time we think we have a path, they change it." His officers argued about strategy, but the humans' unpredictability forced delays and confusion at every turn. Back on Earth, Alex and Lily coordinated the next phase. They planned to use Jupiter's gravity to redirect alien ships into paths where human satellites and probes could observe them closely. The plan required precise calculations and timing. Every volunteer, every scientist, every pilot contributed. Humans were small and limited, but they were united and creative. They were no longer reacting, they were shaping the battlefield. Emma Wright monitored communications as the plan took effect. Alien ships entered the carefully calculated paths. Some collided with debris, others were forced to make sudden maneuvers. The humans were not attacking with weapons. They did not need to, but every alien movement was slowed, delayed, and disrupted. Humans were not winning by force. They were winning by intelligence, coordination, and adaptation. Even the damaged ships contributed. Old research vessels and cargo ships acted as decoys, drawing attention away from critical human positions. They were small and weak, but in combination with satellites and carefully timed maneuvers, they created confusion and hesitation among the alien crews. Humans turned weakness into strength, improvisation into strategy, and cooperation into power. The first major turning point came when alien ships approached Saturn. Alex had anticipated their path and adjusted satellites to create reflections of energy pulses, confusing alien sensors. The fleet slowed, forced to navigate carefully. Humans could now observe more closely, predict actions, and guide alien movements. Humanity was no longer just surviving, they were influencing the enemy. On Earth, civilians watched events unfold through news and satellite feeds. Fear was still present, but it was mixed with pride. Humans, often underestimated and dismissed, were showing the galaxy that they could think, adapt, and survive against overwhelming odds. Volunteers shared information, ideas, and calculations, knowing that even small contributions could change the outcome. Commander Verk and Admiral Solon grew desperate. Their fleet had superior technology, faster ships, and powerful weapons. But the humans' unpredictability, unity, and cleverness made their efforts frustratingly ineffective. Every decision led to new delays, hesitation, and confusion. Humans had no formal hierarchy, yet they acted with coordination that alien fleets could not match. Lily Brooks smiled as she watched the screens. "They think strength is only weapons and speed," she said. "They don't understand that humans are strong in other ways. We think differently. We adapt. We survive." Alex nodded. "And every time they underestimate us, they give us an advantage. They think we are primitive, but they are learning the hard way that we are dangerous when pushed." The aliens tried to coordinate better, but humans were always one step ahead. Small spacecraft acted as guides, satellites created obstacles, and volunteers around the world observed every movement. Every calculation, every adjustment, and every observation was shared instantly through human networks. Alien fleets were slowed, forced into mistakes, and confused at every turn. Even ordinary people contributed. Children in schools drew diagrams of satellite positions, noting changes in patterns. Engineers fixed broken probes and guided them into new positions. Farmers tracked signals and calculated paths using simple tools. Every human action strengthened the global effort. Humans were small, but together they became a living system, adaptive and powerful in ways no alien could predict. The alien fleet began to retreat slightly, forced to slow down near Uranus and Neptune. They had not been defeated, but they had been delayed. Humans had used creativity, observation, and coordination to shape the battlefield. Every move of the aliens was now influenced by humans, and they could do nothing to prevent it. Emma Wright smiled at the monitors. "We're doing more than surviving," she said. "We're influencing them. They have to move the way we want or risk losing their advantage." This is just the beginning. Alex and Lily prepared for the next phase. They would use gravity wells, satellite reflections, and debris fields to guide alien movements closer to the inner planets. The humans' goal was not to destroy, but to buy time, gain information, and continue proving that they were not primitive. Across Earth, civilians worked with military personnel. Volunteers shared information, made calculations, and monitored signals. Engineers repaired satellites, students predicted trajectories, and pilots positioned small craft in critical areas. Humanity had no massive fleet, no planet-destroying weapons, but they had something more powerful: unity, creativity, and the ability to think and act faster than any alien could predict. Commander Verk and Admiral Solon realized that humans were not just surviving, they were influencing the course of events. Their fleets had superior technology, but humans had superior adaptability. Every decision they made was challenged by unpredictable human responses. Every action they attempted was slowed, redirected, or avoided. Alex and Lily watched the alien ships, exhausted but determined. "They still have power," Alex said, "but we are changing the way they act. They are learning to fear our unpredictability." Lily nodded. They think they control the battlefield, but we are shaping it. We are small, but we are clever, and cleverness can be stronger than strength when used the right way. The first signs of alien hesitation were clear. Ships slowed unnecessarily, crews argued over paths, and mistakes increased. Humans had no desire to destroy them, yet every move was disrupted. The galaxy's assumption that humans were primitive was breaking down. As night fell over Earth, humanity celebrated quietly. They had survived the first major attempts of alien attack. They had used intelligence, unity, and creativity to shape events. Humans had proven that even a species considered weak and primitive could influence the strongest forces in the galaxy. Alex looked at the sky, filled with alien ships and human satellites, and felt something he had never felt before: pride. Humans were no longer just surviving. They were acting, influencing, and shaping their own fate. Lily joined him. "We are proving that humans are not primitive," she said softly. "We are clever, adaptable, and united, and the galaxy is starting to notice." For the first time, humans understood that survival was not enough. They had to adapt, innovate, and influence events. They had no massive weapons, but they had something more valuable: intelligence, creativity, and the power to work together. The galaxy had underestimated them. But humanity was ready to prove that being underestimated was the greatest advantage of all. The alien fleets had begun to move cautiously through the solar system. Commander Verk and Admiral Solon had realized something important. Humans were not like any other species they had faced. They did not have massive weapons, huge fleets, or planet-destroying energy. But they had intelligence, adaptability, and unity. Every small human move disrupted alien plans. Every tiny action slowed, redirected, or confused the invaders. Alex Morgan watched the monitors from the operations center. The solar system had become a maze of satellites, small ships, and improvised defenses. Every planet, every moon, every asteroid had a human presence of some kind. It was exhausting work, but humans were thriving in the challenge. They were not just surviving. They were influencing, shaping, and controlling events in ways that no alien commander could fully understand. Lily Brooks adjusted the communications network, linking satellites, stations, and volunteers worldwide. "They still have superior firepower," she said, "but firepower alone can't beat imagination, speed, and coordination. We've seen that." Alex nodded. "We've also learned something about ourselves. We are faster, smarter, and more creative than we believed." And now the galaxy is learning the same. In orbit near Jupiter, Emma Wright and her team observed alien fleets moving cautiously. Every action the humans had taken, from placing satellites, adjusting trajectories, to coordinating small spacecraft, had forced alien commanders to hesitate. They could no longer act freely. Every decision required more thought, more caution, and more time. Humans had become a force they could not ignore. Even civilians on Earth contributed to shaping events. Farmers tracked satellites, engineers adjusted small craft, and students calculated alien paths. People who had never imagined they could help in a crisis were now essential parts of a global network. Humanity had discovered that intelligence and cooperation could be more powerful than any weapon. Commander Verk spoke to his officers. "We thought this species was primitive," he said, voice low and tense. "We assumed we could destroy or ignore them, but they adapt too fast, think too quickly, and work together in ways we cannot control. Every time we act, they change the outcome. They are dangerous." Admiral Solon nodded. "They are not strong in the usual sense," he replied. "But their strength is in their mind, their ability to respond instantly, and their creativity. We cannot fight that with ships and energy alone." The aliens tried to regroup, but humans anticipated their moves. Alex and Lily calculated new strategies, moving satellites, adjusting probes, and coordinating small craft to create obstacles, distractions, and observation points. Every time aliens attempted a maneuver, humans were ready. They did not need to destroy alien ships to influence them. They simply had to shape the battlefield, make the aliens hesitate, and force mistakes. In orbit around Saturn, the humans' plan reached a new level. Old satellites reflected energy pulses, creating confusion in alien sensors. Small craft acted as decoys, drawing attention and making alien ships miscalculate their paths. Even damaged research vessels contributed, nudged carefully to create obstacles or serve as temporary observation posts. Every small action built a larger pattern of disruption. On Earth, Alex spoke with Lily. They think they control the galaxy. But we've changed the way they move, think, and act. Every hesitation they have is because of us. Lily smiled. We're small, we don't have their strength, but our mind, our teamwork, and our willingness to adapt, that's our weapon. As days passed, alien fleets began to recognize that humans were not to be ignored. Ships slowed unnecessarily, crews hesitated, and mistakes multiplied. Humans had no desire to destroy them, but their actions forced aliens to respect them. For the first time in recorded history, a species that had been dismissed as primitive had gained the attention of the galaxy's strongest powers. Volunteers and civilians continued to contribute in remarkable ways. Farmers in fields calculated trajectories. Students and scientists shared observations, predictions, and adjustments. Engineers repurposed equipment, old satellites, and experimental craft. Humanity's network grew more complex, faster, and more effective with each day. Humans were not only surviving, they were leading, shaping the battlefield, and forcing the aliens to rethink strategy. Emma Wright realized the importance of what humans were doing. We've become a new kind of force, she told Daniel Hughes. Not one that destroys, but one that controls, adapts, and influences. The galaxy underestimates intelligence and unity, but we've shown that they are just as powerful as weapons. Alex and Lily worked through the night, coordinating actions across the solar system. Every calculation mattered, every observation contributed, and every small adjustment made humans stronger. Even as the aliens tried to anticipate human moves, they were always one step behind. The unpredictability of humans was unmatched. Commander Verk finally admitted to his officers what they all feared. This species, we cannot defeat them in the way we thought. Their strength is not technology or speed. It is their mind, their cooperation, their ability to adapt. Every action we take is countered before it is even completed. Admiral Solon added, we have no choice but to retreat and reassess. Humans are shaping the battle without weapons. We must learn from them if we want to survive. On Earth, civilians cheered quietly. They had not destroyed alien ships, but they had forced hesitation, confusion, and delay. Every small victory was a sign of human strength. Humans had proven that intelligence, creativity, and unity could overcome overwhelming odds. Alex looked at the glowing dots on the monitors representing alien ships, human satellites, and small craft. They thought we were primitive, he said softly. But we've changed the rules of engagement. They can no longer ignore us. They can no longer assume victory. Lily nodded. We've shown them that humans are clever, adaptable, and united, and that is a power they cannot match. In the following days, alien fleets began to retreat slowly. They had no choice. Every move had been influenced, every plan disrupted, every action anticipated. Humans had forced a change in the battle without firing a single weapon capable of destroying a fleet. The galaxy had assumed humans were weak, but the truth was clear. Intelligence, creativity, and unity were forces even the strongest could not ignore. Emma Wright monitored communications, noting a change in alien behavior. Ships were moving cautiously, crews hesitated, and commanders debated instead of acting. Humans had forced hesitation without striking. It was a victory of mind over might, strategy over brute force. Volunteers around the world continued their work, ensuring humans stayed one step ahead. Every observation, every calculation, and every adjustment mattered. Humans had become a global network of intelligence, creativity, and coordination. Even the smallest contribution could change outcomes in the solar system. Alex and Lily watched the results of their efforts. Alien fleets were retreating. Humans had survived, influenced events, and forced the strongest powers in the galaxy to reconsider. They had proven that being underestimated was a dangerous mistake for anyone who faced humans. Commander Verk spoke to his officers one last time before ordering retreat. They are not primitive, he said. They are dangerous in ways we did not anticipate. Never again underestimate humans, Admiral Solon agreed. We have learned a lesson. Humans are not weak. They survive, adapt, and influence events in ways no technology can match. We must respect them. On Earth, Alex, Lily, and Emma reflected on what had happened. Humans had survived not because they had the strongest weapons, but because they had used their minds, worked together, and adapted to challenges. They had proven to themselves and the galaxy that humans were far from primitive. Volunteers, civilians, engineers, students, and scientists had all contributed to this achievement. Every person on Earth had played a role. Humanity had shown that even small, underestimated species could change the course of events in the galaxy. Alex looked at the night sky, filled with stars, satellites, and distant alien ships. "We've changed the galaxy's perception of humans," he said. "We are no longer primitive. They cannot ignore us. They cannot assume they can control us." Lily smiled. "And the best part is, they never saw it coming. They thought strength was weapons. They thought speed and technology mattered most. But humans proved that intelligence, creativity, and unity are stronger than anything they expected." Across the globe, people celebrated quietly. Not for destruction, but for survival, for proving that humans were capable of more than anyone had believed. The galaxy had been wrong about Earth. Humans were not weak, not slow, and not primitive. They were clever, adaptable, and united. As the alien fleets retreated beyond the solar system, Alex and Lily reflected on what had been achieved. Humanity had faced the strongest forces in the galaxy and survived. They had done it without massive weapons, without overwhelming firepower, but with intelligence, creativity, and the willingness to work together. Emma Wright spoke softly, looking at her monitors. "We've done something extraordinary. The galaxy will never forget this. Humans have shown what we are capable of, and they will respect us now." Alex nodded. "We are no longer just survivors. We are a species that adapts, innovates, and shapes events, and that is power they cannot take away." Lily added, "The galaxy underestimated humans. And that was our greatest advantage. We proved that even the smallest, seemingly weakest species can change everything when we work together." The solar system grew quiet again. Alien fleets moved away, hesitant to return, aware that humans were no longer to be dismissed. Earth remained intact, its people alive, proud, and united. Humanity had survived the greatest test in its history, and the galaxy had learned a lesson it would not forget. Alex looked up at the stars, feeling hope and pride. Humans had been underestimated, dismissed, and ignored. But they had survived, adapted, and influenced the strongest powers in the galaxy. They had proven that being human was more than technology, speed, or weapons. It was creativity, intelligence, and unity. And the galaxy had changed forever. Humans were no longer considered primitive. They were a species to be respected, feared, and admired. For the first time, humanity understood its true strength. It was not in power, size, or firepower. It was in the mind, the heart, and the willingness to work together against impossible odds. The galaxy had learned a lesson that would never be forgotten. And humans, finally aware of their own potential, were ready for whatever came next.